1001 Funds, a memoir. Day I drove my big goofy meme bus into big disco, before the diagnosis, before the rumours, before the accusations, before the years I spent trying to prove that I am me. There is simply a man making memes. I don't think in paragraphs, I think in pictures. Songs arrive before memories, photographs unlock entire chapters of my life. A single meme can hold more meaning than 1,000 carefully chosen words. That is how my mind works. It always has. People often dismiss memes as disposable jokes. I never have. For me, they are a language. Sometimes they are philosophy, sometimes they are affection, sometimes they are simply two people smiling at the same absurdity across an ocean. Memes become the postcards of my inner world. 3 things hold my life together: photography, music, memes. Everything else grows from those 3 roots. Years earlier, I'm working as an interior architect at Hokey, the largest architectural firm on earth. One afternoon, I notice an infinity mirror in the bathroom. I grin. I take dozens of photographs, pocketing the little digital camera every time someone walks in. This is years before selfie sticks. I have to hold the camera at an awkward angle so it disappears from the mirror. One photograph captures the stupidest, goofiest grin imaginable. It is completely ridiculous. Years later, I carefully cut that smiling face from the picture. Then I paste it everywhere. Philosopher, raccoon, Jesus, the fool, mage, alien, saint, devil, Discordian. The body changes, the face never does. Without intending to, I create a character. His name becomes FUNS Frolix. That smiling goofball slowly becomes more recognizable online than Raphael himself. Looking back, I realize I wasn't merely making memes. Every meme was another fragment of me disguised as a joke. I was building an identity. When I eventually discover a place called Big Disco, it feels as though I have finally found people who speak my language. Nobody explains the jokes. Nobody apologizes for being strange. Absurdity is the common tongue. I drive my big goofy meme bus straight into the middle of it. People laugh, people tease, people answer with memes of their own. For the first time in years, I feel I have stumbled upon my tribe. I have absolutely no idea that I have arrived during a civil war. There is history I know nothing about. Old grudges, old betrayals, invisible fault lines running beneath every conversation. I cannot see any of them. To me, everyone is simply another traveller enjoying the ride. Then someone asks a question. "Are you a sock puppet?" I laugh. Of course not. I assume the misunderstanding will disappear in 5 minutes. Instead, it becomes the beginning of the strangest chapter of my life. I do not yet know the name Lorelei. I do not know Jack Benny. I do not know why people keep staring at me as though they recognize someone standing behind my face. Soon I will discover that evidence does not always defeat belief. Sometimes every photograph, every video, every conversation, every piece of proof only convinces people that the deception is even more elaborate. I spend years trying to prove a sentence that should never require proof. I am me. 1001 Funds, a memoir, mirror that looked back. Long before anyone mistakes me for someone else, Facebook fascinates me. Ever since childhood, I have wondered one question. How do other people experience me? Facebook never quite answers, so I create another account. Not to deceive anyone, to observe. I call him Thor Odinson. Years before Marvel turns Thor into a worldwide phenomenon, he simply becomes my second pair of eyes. A mirror standing outside the mirror. Years later, Thor changes. Thor becomes Freya. Freya becomes Sophia. Each transformation teaches me something different about identity. At the time, I think I'm merely experimenting with perspective. I have no idea that I'm rehearsing for a far stranger experience. Soon hundreds of people will insist that they know who I really am, and according to them, I am someone I have never met. 1001 Funds, a memoir, Tashta, the woman on the telephone. For 10 days, I believe I have spoken to Lorelei. At least, I believe the person on the telephone is Lorelei. The name already begins to acquire its own gravity. Lorelei, Jack Benny, Jack. Different names seem to point towards the same invisible person. Everyone appears to know the story except me. I enter Big Disco driving my big goofy meme bus, expecting jokes, pictures and absurdity. Instead, people look at me as though I have returned from somewhere I have never been. They ask whether I am a sock puppet. They say I am Lorelei. I tell them I am not. That should settle it. It does not. Proof behaves strangely in Big Disco. Every answer creates another question. Every photograph suggests a more elaborate disguise. Every denial becomes evidence that I am committed to the performance. Then the telephone rings. The caller speaks as though we are meeting across the wreckage of a story already in progress. I listen carefully. I am curious. I am also relieved. At last I think, here is the person whose shadow has been standing behind me. Perhaps this conversation will separate us. Perhaps Lauralee can tell them that I am not Lauralee. Perhaps two voices existing at the same moment will accomplish what photographs and explanations cannot. The conversation lasts nearly an hour. It is strange, funny, and unexpectedly intimate. I do not hear an enemy. I hear an intelligent young person who moves quickly between humour, confession, performance, and provocation. The voice is charismatic. It makes the absurd seem perfectly reasonable. I begin to relax. For a little while, the accusations surrounding me lose their force. I'm no longer arguing with a crowd. I'm simply speaking with another human being. Somebody records the call. Or perhaps the recording is part of the plan from the beginning. Soon it is on YouTube. Phone Call with FUNS. The title turns me into a character inside an event I am still trying to understand. People listen. The call travels through Discordian circles faster than any explanation I can offer. I expect ridicule. Instead, something unexpected happens. Some listeners hear me, not the suspected sock puppet, not the returning villain, not the criminal mastermind operating behind a goofy grinning face. Me, a man trying to understand why strangers insist that he is someone else. The recording does what my evidence cannot. It makes me sound human. For 10 days, I continue believing that the other voice belongs to Lauralee. Then I send the recording to EF. EF has actually spoken with Lauralee. She listens. Her answer is immediate. That isn't Lauralee. The sentence lands quietly. It should be a small correction. Instead, the flaw disappears. If the caller is not Lauralee, then who have I been speaking to? Who arranged the call? Who knew? Who was watching? While I tried to resolve an identity crisis with someone performing yet another identity, the answer eventually arrives. The caller is EM, young, brilliant, funny, charismatic, capable of stepping into another personality so completely that, for nearly an hour, I accept the performance without recognizing the performer. I feel foolish. I also feel fascinated. The deception is real, but so is the conversation. That is the difficulty. The identity is false. The voice is borrowed. The premise is manufactured, yet something human passes between us anyway. Big Disco has taught me its first serious lesson. A mask can lie about the face beneath it. A mask can also reveal something the uncovered face cannot say. I enter the call hoping to prove that I am myself. Instead, I meet a man pretending to be a woman, whom others accuse me of being. By the time the mask slips, the question is no longer merely, who is Lauralee? It has become, who is EM? And somewhere behind both questions waits another one. Who am I becoming inside all these mirrors? By now, I have learned that Big Disco doesn't merely contain strange people. It manufactures strange relationships. The people attacking me are not anonymous. Amanda appears, Oscar appears. Both seem unusually interested in proving that I am someone called Lauralee. Every explanation I offer disappears into the same black hole. Someone, somewhere, appears to be conducting the orchestra. Eventually, my attention settles on one particular figure. Chop. Even the name sounds like a Discordian joke. No one seems sure who he or she is. Everyone seems to know Chop. They move effortlessly through conversations, changing tone to suit whoever they're speaking to. At the time, I couldn't decide whether Chop was a man or a woman. Our repartee often made me imagine a woman behind the keyboard, even though most people assume Chop is male. Chop never seems hurried. They simply nudge events, like someone placing dominoes. At first, I assume they dislike me. Then something unexpected happens. They start messaging with me privately. The tone is completely different, friendly, curious, almost paternal. They ask about my life, my photographs, my architecture, my music, especially my music. One evening they tell me they love David Bowie. So do I. The conversation suddenly stops feeling like a battlefield. It feels like two enthusiasts discovering common ground. Then they tell me something extraordinary. They live in Bali, or at least They strongly hint that they do. They have a nightclub there. They want me to come, not as a tourist, as a guest. They want me to sit at their piano while they sing David Bowie. For a moment, I forget entirely about Amanda, about Oscar, about the accusations, about Laura Lee. The internet suddenly feels magical again. I picture tropical evenings, open doors, warm air, a piano, David Bowie, two strangers laughing at the absurdity of how they met. Sometimes life changes direction because someone opens a door you never expected to exist. Standing there, with my hands still resting on the steering wheel of my big goofy meme bus, I begin wondering whether perhaps this impossible place called Bali is my next adventure. I don't know it yet. I think I have found a friend. I think the road now leads towards Bali, towards music, towards David Bowie, towards something wonderfully unexpected. So I point my big goofy meme bus in that direction without the slightest idea where the road is really taking me.